As you can see from the title, I switched to a different window manager from a desktop environment from KDE. Let's go check, as usual, if I'm streaming, and it seems that I am. I'm loving the CSS that removes the now empty chat from the right of here. It's like so much better looking. There is so much that has changed and happened. There's going to be a lot to talk about here. First of all, I want to move chat here. And actually, let me immediately talk about this feature. So, awesome VM. I've been configuring it for the last week, and when I say week, I mean that very exactly. Everything that I've been doing for the last week is just configure my new window manager, my new environment. I also reinstalled to try to fix sleep. That has somewhat worked, but not very well. And the feature that I'm currently using is the most interesting one. So, as your tiling window manager, Awesome VM has workspaces that it calls tags. Because, as usual, you need to be quirky and call your things different. And then the only two people I want to not miss streams of are streaming simultaneously. God damn. Well, thank you for that. One thing that I want to check immediately, there's a button on the top of my microphone that is meant to disable my microphone. I want to know if it actually works. Okay, so it does work still. Interesting. Because when I press on it, you just saw in this window that it didn't pick up sound. My widget here that I made that shows me whether I'm muted or not and the volume of my microphone, it didn't notice. Interesting. So, coming back to the cool feature, workspaces is, as usual, windows can be on workspaces. And yeah, right, once again, they're called tags. Windows can be on tags. You can move windows to tags. What else? Well, those are the two main features, really. And on KDE, there's this window rule that you can set that keeps a window on all desktops. So here it would be on all tags, and it also has this feature. It's called sticky. Make sure that a window stays on all workspaces. Well, also VM has a really cool thing of this kind of feature. It lets you have a window on multiple tags without necessarily that window being on all the tags. Something I was kinda annoyed by and had to deal with is when I'm streaming, I kept chat sticky, so it would appear on every single workspace that I went to. And if I just so happen to go to Spotify, now there's like chat on half the window, and I have to think about that for close to no reason. I'm probably not gonna miss much. I have like, what, 5 average viewers per stream, which I'm actually quite proud of. Clearly shows that some people are interested in my content, but regardless, there's not going to be so much chat that I'll miss something. That's just not going to happen. So why keep it everywhere? I might as well just keep it in places where it feels nice to be kept in. Like here, for example, it looks really, really good, don't you think? or specify desktop workspace tag whatever else name exists for that with just chat, and then maybe here. So currently chat is on 3 different tags, and those are not 3 different windows. It is the same window that is just kept on 3 different tags at the same time. The window is a single one, which is the coolest thing about it. So here, for example, I don't see chat. I could add it here if I wanted to, but currently I don't feel like it, so I can just not and come back to look at chat when I'm like just stalking rather than doing something. I fucking love this. Really, really cool feature. But in a more larger sense, let's talk about AwesomeVM and why the switch. KDE is amazing. However, as often things are, there's always a however. It's good, yeah, but there were things here and there which are like not major, but annoying enough to not be perfect. For example, Bismuth, the tiling window script for KDE, it's pretty good, all things considered. But it didn't have a feature as simple as on this workspace have this layout. For example, here on the first tag, I basically always, or at least by default, want to have the layout where the main window is to the right. The main window is usually VS Code. And the reason I want it like that is, actually, let me show you. If I do it like this, most code, it's kind of personal. Yeah, see, so this code isn't too long, but it's kind of long. And still, regardless, instead of looking in the middle of my screen, which I would prefer to do, I have to go all the way to the left to go look at code. And most code would be like up to this length, maybe. A lot of lines at least will be. So I have to basically always be looking at the left. And then this is just always me looking at the right. Kind of nonsensical, I think. But if I do it like this, then code starts mostly in the middle of my screen and stays mostly in the middle of my screen. So if we look like here, that is basically in the middle of my screen. Very, very good. And then my terminal is on the left, which is fine because I type less in the terminal usually. So I always want to have this layout on this desktop, but not here. Here is just a browser. I want to have the default one, or I might change it up as I use it. Then on Anki, wait, what? Well, I mean, yeah, but I don't think I can handle it though. At least the connection is quote-unquote good. Yeah, since I switched, I also reinstalled my system, so all of my OBS settings are kind of fucked up. I'll probably have to go bit by bit and restoring them to what they were. Because I didn't have that backed up. For some odd fucking reason, I thought I would just have a backup. But why would I, right? So on Anki, what I want to do is have a different layout called Fair Layout. And the way it works is that, first of all, main window is here, other windows come up here. Very normal. However, if I create another window, that now occupies the big space basically. And I really like this feature because some things kind of need to be big enough, and especially the one that I'm just opening, I probably also want to be the biggest one. And I use a different layout specifically for that, and I want that to always be the case on the tag that contains Anki. There are more examples that I'm currently forgetting, but the main idea is that the feature of you can have a specific... Ooh, I need to drink water. Hello. Yeah. The feature of you can have a specific layout on a specific tag. The way that I did it on Bismuth, because for some odd fucking reason, and I'm once again super annoyed with software not having very, very obvious features. The way I did it on Bismuth is just in my login script, I actively went to a desktop and literally just called the command to change the layout. And then I sleep one to make sure it applies, and then I go to the next one. Basically, it was really whack. It was incredibly whack. Well, now I don't have to do that. Now it's actually like reasonable. So let's go to, I think, tags. Yeah. Here, where you define tags, you, by the way, don't have to do it this way. I just kind of did. It was easier for me because I'm a Vim user, and copy pasting things is very easy. Here I have my tag definition, and I'm not gonna be really going in depth about how to configure AwesomeVM. I'll just show things around maybe a bit, and if you're interested, it's up to you to then figure it out mostly, unless you ask a very specific question to me, in which case I'll answer, of course. So here, and where I define my tags, I do hate Lua, but from AwesomeVM, I hate Lua a bit less, just slightly less. Slightly. Because AwesomeVM's API, Lua API, is actually more reasonable. Quite a bit more reasonable and nice to work with than NeoVim's API. So here I just say, oh, let's add this tag, which is this tag that we're currently on, and it will have this layout by default. And I can still change it if I want to, but the default is going to be this one. And then you can see that mostly every other one has the tile layout, except this one. Oh, wait, what is this? Huh. What is this? Oh, right. I usually open GIMP there. I see. That's why I have it to fair. But also, where's the... Yeah, here it is. The Anki tag also uses fair. Function print. Yeah. I mean, I like that kind of functional programming type thingy. That I love. I just really hate syntactical decisions on the part of Lua and how much it doesn't help you. The standard library is really ugly and annoying to use. There is not even reject support, which, to be fair, also doesn't exist in Rust. You have to use a package. But then Rust also gives you way more options in working with text in a convenient and nice way. And the way things are named in Lua, like once again the standard library, is just horrendous. Then to add, to insert a value into a table, pretty simple operation. Instead of doing something like table insert, because the colon is the method access symbol in Lua, insert index value, right? That's what you would expect. Nope. What you have to do is table fucking insert and then your hold up. Insert your table index value. Why in the living fucking hell is this not a method? Why are we calling the insert function on the table namespace when by all accounts there should be syntax sugar to call it from table, because this is fucking ugly and Lua is filled with bullshit like this that I absolutely fucking hate. Wait, how long have I been streaming? Because fun fact, if you swear too quickly into a YouTube video, you get demonetized. Not like I earn any money whatsoever on this channel at all. What would be funny if I like went in immediately? Damn, yeah, I'll have to next stream increase the bitrate and hope it works magically. It shows me fucking jumping around. Where were we? Here we are. Yeah, so I still more hate Lua than I don't, but I hate it a bit less thanks to the environment of AwesomeVM. Oh yeah, I say WM as in window manager as VM. I always have, because the letter W is really hard to pronounce. So I just say VM, even though VM is a completely different thing. It's a virtual machine. When I mean window manager, I'm just gonna continue. I'm sorry. Yeah. So now, when I log in, reboot, the windows that get opened in my login script, let's actually go look at my login script, has quite a bit of stuff. Actually, let's go to awesome.lua and hold up, I can actually show it here in .config awesome, and I think it's config. Hold up, let's actually go look. RC. So in your home directory .config awesome rc.lua, you will have your main config, and by default it will have everything in one file, but I split it into multiple because the default one is really big to just have it in a single file. So I have a couple of them, and I do require into the main awesome.lua file. And you can see that the path is different here. It's .file awesome.lua, not the path that I just showed you here. That is because I do it the way that I usually do it. I make symlinks. First of all, in my .files.dependent, -dependent, I first of all create the config directory for awesome, then make a symlink for awesome.lua, which acts as my rc.lua and includes everything, and then also make symlinks for everything else to the awesome config directory. And that way I can have all of my awesome configuration in the directory that I'm comfortable in having in my .files directory under awesome. Here it is. But all the files that are expected are also in the config directory. I have quite a few files here, now I realize. More than I thought I did. Wait, hold up, let's count. Awesome, -1. Keys is there. Layouts is there. Rules is there. Screen is there. Signals is there. Tags is within screen, I'm pretty sure. And theme.lua is another thing that that is also used. Okay, yeah. let's talk about widgets, because that's mostly what I've been doing. Here in my top bar, you can only assume that it's not the default one. Well, the bar is the default one, but what it contains mostly isn't default. So, this clock is a default clock, but of course I changed the formatting, because the default formatting is basically always fucking ass. The tag list that contains all the tags that you have. Yeah, we also configured it a bit. The layout that's currently being used on the current tag, I recolored it. It uses images, so that's why you can't just set a variable to make the color different. You have to specifically recolor the images, which is what I did. So those are the only default widgets that I'm using. And still, all of them I configured to some degree. All the other ones I made myself. Let's actually go over them. First of all, usually you will see here in the middle of your top bar a task list. It will contain all the windows that you have currently open on this tag. I found it kinda unnecessary. This is a tiling window manager, which means that windows tile, usually, unless specifically overridden for a pretty good reason, you know? So that means that most of the time, I'll see all the windows that are on my screen. I don't need them specified all over here. All I really ever want, if even, is to see the title of the current window, so you can have a better specifier which window it is. Now, of course, I get borders here, which I didn't used to have on KDE, but this is still useful in trying to figure out which window it is, if just looking at it isn't enough context. To give you an example, maybe I have multiple VOD windows open, and they're currently just loading up, and I can't see the page that they have open in them. However, in the win title, I might see, oh, this is the Discord window. Oh, this is the YouTube window. Oh, this is the other window. So that's why it's useful. Also, to the left, if there's some special state on a window, it will have cool symbols. Let me show you. I'll open Xzoom, and Xzoom is, how do I show this? Oh, like this, yeah. It is always on top. Yeah, it is always on top. It is sticky, meaning it is on all tags, and it is floating, so it doesn't tile. And it is Xzoom. Then I have my layout switcher. There is a default layout switcher, and it works. However, I didn't figure out how to change the font size that it uses. I'm sure you super easily, but I just haven't gotten to it. Because I had an idea that I really liked. Usually, in your bar, you have two specifiers. One shows you what layout you're using, and another separate one shows you if caps lock is on. I find that kind of ridiculous, because isn't it kind of genius to have this? I just enabled caps lock, and now the name of the layout went from lowercase to uppercase. Doesn't that make incredible fucking sense? Also, like makes the font color yellow, so it's a bit more obvious at a glance that it has changed. Isn't that just lovely? It makes incredible sense, I think. So it both shows you the layout that you're using and the caps lock state. So that's why I made my own widget for that. Bluetooth. Actually, it is kind of hard to see. Interesting. Huh. I can't use the middle click button to clear. Huh. That's super interesting. So middle click is an eraser in Gromit for me, but I guess not anymore, which is really strange. Let's use a different color, something a bit more visible. So this Bluetooth widget shows up if my Bluetooth is on, and it turns cyan if I'm currently connected. I'm not gonna connect to a device right now in case that fucks up the audio for the stream. I know, fucking Linux. There's this meme where there's a computer, speakers, and Linux, and it goes something like, consensual audio, didn't you forget to ask someone else? Essentially meaning that, didn't you forget to ask Linux whether audio will work? I found that very funny, because, yeah, audio on Linux it's not horrendous, how memes often portray it, at least for me, but it might not be streamlined, let's say it like that. However, when it does work, I've noticed that it actually sounds so much better than on Windows. On my very specific situation, it might not be the case like on average. When I'm in my headphones connected via Bluetooth and I listen to Spotify, the quality of music is so much better than it was on Windows. I'm thinking it's because of codecs. Regardless, let's Bluetooth CTL power off so I can disable the disable Bluetooth overall, and look at this. It's going to disappear because I disabled Bluetooth. And if I power on, it will appear. Isn't that incredible? I haven't implemented the same thing for Wi-Fi yet, but it does change color depending on the strength of the connection. So it's red if there's no connection, it's yellow if connection is limited, and it is a normal color if connection is normal. And I also want to implement that if I have Wi-Fi disabled, not just like not connected, but disabled, it should disappear. That's what I want to do. Okay, now this one is actually really neat, and I've been really loving this one. This is the hunger widget. It shows me the amount of time that has passed since I last ate. It's very easy for me to forget to eat. I might be really enthralled in the current task that I'm doing, and it ends up that I'm like looking at the clock. I'm like, wait, how long ago did I eat? Oh shit, 6 hours. And I really dislike that from happening, because once I'm hungry, I also get angry and kind of depressed, and everything becomes more difficult. So I should eat kinda every 4 hours, basically. And this widget lets me keep track of that. It shows me right now the amount of minutes ago that I ate. And yeah, I just ate and decided to stream. So I have the maximum amount of hours in me that I could stream before I get hungry and go insane. But it will then start showing hours as well. This can never be more than 24 hours, and if it is, it doesn't matter, so it doesn't display days. Yeah. And then, once I execute a certain hotkey that marks that I ate, it resets to 0. Actually, nice that it came up. This is my water widget that appears every 10 minutes, or rather on every 10th minute. Oh, an hour has passed, by the way. You can look at that too. So it is at least supposed to come up on every 9:50, and then 10, and then 10:10, and then 10:20, 10:30. You get the idea. Or is it... Hold up. Let me actually check. Let's go to 10 minutes. No, 10 minutes timer. Oh, no. Yeah. It executes every 10 minutes. Oh, that's actually even better than I thought. We'll come back to talking about how this matters and how this works. But every 10 minutes, this widget appears, and it's science, so it's pretty visible. It stays there for 10 seconds, and then it disappears. That widget basically reminds me to drink water, because otherwise I can very easily forget, same as with eating. I don't know if that's just like common or autism. It might be both, honestly. I don't know. Once I'm like really into a task, I can easily forget about other things. So this widget has been actually helping me, as well as the hunger widget. It has been incredibly fucking helpful. I actually drink more water now. It is amazing. So, right. Widgets overall, that's a very huge power of AwesomeVM, among many other things, is the fact that you can just create your own widgets and update them depending on different signals, conditions, timers, and so on. You can just make them whatever you fucking want. They're completely up to you. They're pretty easy to make too. And you can make something as specific to you as a hunger widget. And I absolutely love that. Now, this is a bit more obvious. This turns red if I mute myself, as you might have noticed already. Then, this shows me the volume of the microphone. This shows me the volume of my output. And this is whether my output is muted. Pretty simple. Now, this is the task they did the longest time ago. And it specifies the amount of days in superscript, because I think it just looks really cool, and it also occupies less space. It's overall more stylish, I think. How does it work? It uses my program called Loago. Let's Loago list, and we see a list of the tags that I keep track of. So for example, I changed my towels to new ones 0 days ago. If we do this, we can see more specifically when that last happened. So in the next hour, towels will become 1 days. So currently, face scrub I did 6 days ago. You shouldn't face scrub too often. I heard it should be around a once a week thing, so that's why I track it. And then once I do, like loago do f scrub, which I'm not gonna execute, it will become 0, and then this widget will display green 6, which is actually how long ago I changed the coil on my vape. So I'll remove it from the widget because it shouldn't be changed that often. Have you thought about writing your window manager config using teal or funnel? Never even heard of teal, and I've heard of funnel. I don't know what it is though. I'll have to elaborate. Alright, so I'll just filter this and we'll come to B scrub, which is body scrub, which has the same idea as a face scrub. You shouldn't do it way too often. Also a around a week thing. So essentially, as I do tasks, I can very quickly and easily notice that, okay, this is the next task that I should do. And here's how long ago I did it. So I can see the urgency basically, and it's a nice motivator to tell me you should do this. Like for example, washing the floor. And since I just recently reinstalled, I forgot to back up my loago data, and that's why things like floor, dust, vacuum, and other stuff isn't here. It used to be tracked. Now it isn't because I'm a dumbass that forgot to back up my data. But it's supposed to be there. So essentially, eventually, it will notify me, you vacuumed like 9 days ago. And that will tell me, yeah, I definitely should vacuum, you know? Teal, Lua dialect with types, transpiles to Lua, the TypeScript of Lua, funnel a Lisp-like shorthand for Lua, transpiles to Lua, fixes some of the big issues with Lua. That's cool. But the thing about it is that it implies I learn a new language, with funnel at least, and a new-ish language with teal, to work on something that's not that important, I guess. This window manager configuration is a hobby. It is fun. It's not really meant to be important, you know? So I don't necessarily care about the code quality either. That's kind of how I look at things. So if you look at my Rust projects, I take them way more seriously with the documentation, publishing them correctly, all that kind of professional stuff. But then, if you look at my dot files, I can very easily like add some kind of code, because it sincerely doesn't matter nearly as much. So I don't think I just care, I guess. I'm probably going to try both for Lua Kit, as I have fallen into that rabbit hole too. RIP. Let's talk about this that I mentioned. So apparently, I thought that this timer worked differently. So this, I'm pretty sure how this works is that every minute it adds to a counter of 10, and once it is 10, it executes your script. So every 10 minutes, but that means that you execute this code, you sleep 10 seconds, you execute this code. That means that it will still execute in the next 10 minutes, but accounting the extra 10 seconds, which is, I'm guessing, why the water widget hasn't yet occurred. Let's actually try to wait to see when it occurs. So it takes care of those 10 plus seconds, which I don't necessarily hate. Matter of fact, I think I like it. I'm sure there is probably some way to make it so it specifically executes every 10th minute. It is 40 already. It still hasn't executed. Interesting. So yeah, basically, oh, here it is. 56 or something it was, I think. And it shows us the thing. That's pretty cool, because it is more precisely 10 minutes. It is 10 minutes after it has shown the widget, rather than every 9:50. Which would be fine as well. It's like, really doesn't matter. But I think I prefer this. Yeah. So, widgets. What else is there to talk about? I've been doing this shit for a week straight. But when you try to kind of remember what you did on it, you completely forget. Even though I did so many things. So I guess let's do something that I was gonna do anyway. And maybe as we do things, I'll remember some stuff. I want to do CSS on YouTube chat because it fell back to what it used to be previously. And I want to fix it. First of all, now the CSS applies on this window as well, which means that I had to bring back this part of the chat to be able to pop out chat in there. So I want to style this to make it really, really thin. Yeah. I'll want to work on margins here. I think this is the wrong color. No, it isn't. It's the correct color. Okay. I'll want to make sure that this is using the correct gray. Maybe some other stuff that I'm currently forgetting. I remember something. Cursors. Let me show you how you install cursors on a window manager. So not a desktop environment. First of all, you go and install the cursor. That I'm sure you can or rather you download the cursor. That I'm sure you can figure out. And what you will come across then is a folder kind of like this. It will usually be zipped or tarred. You Google how to untar it, or if it's just unzip, you literally say unzip. Boom. Okay, then you go into it and you will see an index.theme. You go to look at it and the name will be here. This is the name that you actually use. Now, where do you use it? You use it in X resources. So xcursor.theme. Here you specify the name that you want to use. What is X resources, you might say? Well, in your home directory, you should create .X resources. And that basically contains some global theming information for the Xorg server. Right, I'm talking about Xorg, by the way. I don't know how this works on Wayland. Maybe the same way. Most definitely not, though. But yeah, I'm talking about Xorg. And that's why I'm on AwesomeVM specifically, because it's Xorg oriented. I don't know if it supports Wayland. I think it doesn't. or at least is not meant to be used with Wayland. So you set that name to X resources, and now GTK3. How do we get to this file? It is in home.config gtk dash 3.0 settings.ini, and you'll get this file. If it doesn't exist, it should, but if it doesn't exist, probably just create it. It should be called settings.ini once again. And to change your cursor theme here, you change it here as well. So you change it in two places. Why do you need to change it in two places? Because if you don't, the behavior that you would get is that here you'll get your new cursor theme working, but once you switch to Vivaldi or VS Code, it falls back to whatever is set here. So you need to set it in both places, so GTK apps use the correct one. Right, where are cursor themes supposed to be? They're supposed to be in, let's actually real path this, in user share icons. So these are system-wide icon themes, including cursor themes. I haven't looked too deeply into how to set up icon themes, probably in a pretty similar way. You probably change this variable and some variable in X resources. It's probably very, very similar, but you put both cursors and general icon themes to this path, and you can use them by the name specified in their index.theme, which is usually just the name of the folder, but not always. And that's how you do cursors. I used this website. I used this website to look at cursor themes. I'm currently looking for icon themes. If you're an Arch user, keep in mind a lot of themes that you'll come across you can actually install either from the repo, Arch repo, or from AUR. So whenever you install one, check out if it's in the repo or AUR first, and if it isn't, then you can do the manual install, or rather manual download. And I am really happy with the cursor that I'm using. I think like the main cursor looks really good. It works really well with the yellow theme of my entire fucking environment, with a yellow glow around it. However, I really dislike this variant of Jesus, wow, that's so entirely black. That's crazy. Yeah, I dislike this variant of the cursor a lot. And I'm overall not a fan of the finger variant that is too wide and also has this dots on the back of the hand. It's too realistic. I would want it to be like less cartoony and more abstracted. So I don't like it, which is why I'm still looking for new cursors. But the main one I fucking adore. Let me try to take a screenshot to show you another variant. Here it's this kind of thing, and it turns into that, and now when I'm dragging, it turns into a corner. It's really fucking neat. What am I doing right now? I'm using Scrot, which is hilariously closely named to Scrotum, to take a screenshot, and then I can paste it. How does it work? Let me go to X remap and screenshot. So I press Super S and we execute this command, scrot-s and dash to print the image into stdout. Yes, that is indeed something that you can do. And you catch that stdouted image by xclip dash selection clipboard dash t image.png. So what ends up happening is that when we take a screenshot, it is piped directly into xclip that puts this image in your clipboard. Better yet, what we can also do is do a similar thing with display, so that I can screenshot an image and immediately display it without touching my clipboard. So I took the screenshot and made it be on my screen without changing my clipboard. So whatever I had in my clipboard previously, I can continue using while having this now nice little thing. I find it really fucking neat. Incredibly. So this feature of take a screenshot and hover it over your screen, I've had it on 3 different setups. I have had it on Windows. It was really difficult to implement because of how Windows worked, unsurprisingly. Well, Windows and HK. Then on KDE, where I used the KDE screenshotter to copy an image to my clipboard and then use display to take that image out of my clipboard. But now on AwesomeVM, I'm just using Scrot to directly pipe the image into whatever program that I want. So currently it's the best option that I've ever had. Also, something that you can do on AwesomeVM, you can define what mouse actions do. I'm currently just clicking. I'm not holding any modifiers, and yet I can move the window. That is not the default behavior for display. Which is by ImageMagick, by the way. You install ImageMagick to get this. It's not the default behavior. If you clicked on it, you get a menu that I'm never going to use because it's too ugly. And if you press right click, you also get a menu that is also entirely too ugly. And using AwesomeVM, I made it so when I click on it, I instead execute mouse move, and when I right click on it, I close the window. That is something that you can do on AwesomeVM. So let's go to signals, and on, I think, manage. So on connect signal manage, this will be in your default config. I guess not here. Oh wait, I'm stupid. On keys, yeah, here it is. On client buttons, gear stable join, this will also be in your default config. You can just search for it. I made it so, let me move my mouse out of the way. I made it so when I press with no modifiers 1, which is left click, if the class of the window is display, then I activate mouse move. Yes, that means that anytime I left click, there is a class check. Keep that in mind. That's actually pretty ass, but I don't play games, and that's, I feel like, the only place where it will ever matter whatsoever. So I'm okay with it, with this trade-off. Same thing here, but 3 is right click. If class is display, then I kill the window. That is something you can do. I find that fucking incredible. Because I used to have to... let me actually show this. I open a new terminal. To move it, I can press meta or super and then drag. I can do it like this. And this works everywhere. But I have to hold down the meta modifier. And then I can press right click to do God knows what. Right. To resize it. Yeah. Right. With right click, I can resize the window. Jesus Christ, it's tripping out. Damn. I should figure out screenshots on my setup. It's a pain to screenshots anything. Use Scrot. Scrot is fucking amazing. It is incredible. It is way better than I thought it would be. It's literally all you want. I haven't gotten to that yet, but I don't only have a like not only these screenshots I can do. Right, and meta middle click kills the window. Also, I fucked up my... I think it was like this. Oh, Wayland issue. But I think Scrot works there too, honestly. I would imagine. What was that? What the hell? Right, aside from screenshotting a selection, I can also screenshot a window and have notifications there that says that I took a window. Boom, you can see that it only screenshotted the window. We go back here, we do another different hotkey. It took screen, you can see that it indeed took screen. And super alt W. Let's use meta S to take a screenshot separately, and you can see that no window has appeared. And I can press meta alt W to take the picture in my clipboard and hover it with display, rather than immediately taking it and hovering it at the same time. I'll use AwesomeVM if it was a Wayland compositor, but unfortunately there is only the Hyperland monopoly. Yeah, it does seem like a monopoly with Wayland. Like, Hyperland has been popping up slightly too much for me, but it's like starting to get annoying, you know? As in YouTube recommendations and such. And it keeps popping up and it's starting to get on my nerves. Like, Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up a bit, you know? Yeah, but also, is AwesomeVM better than Hyperland? From what I've seen, Hyperland is way more beautiful than AwesomeVM. What I like AwesomeVM for is the, like, unimaginable configurability. You can hook into any event and do any code that you want. You can define everything exactly how you want it to be. While in Hyperland, if I know correctly, it's just a config that you change the configuration of, rather than, oh, just execute this code. Matter and Kwin are tied too deeply with the DEs. True. This way is just not as good as Hyperland. That's pretty unfortunate, yeah. I've heard there are people that took Kwin and used it specifically as a compositor, which sounds like a pretty neat idea, because I liked the zoom feature on Kwin a lot. And it has been kinda torture trying to make it work, like a global zoom feature without KWen, what I found is the program called Xzoom, which requires my, oh, I can't draw anymore, which requires my compositor to not be working and requires Grommet MPX to also not be working. Why? Because if you disable the compositor while Grommet MPX is running, you get a black screen. So then that means that you have to disable Grommet MPX as well. And only then does this shit work. And this is supposedly basically the best one out there for X11, which is really sad. Kind of like Grommet MPX being the best drawing program. Like, damn, they're both kind of ass in their own ways, in very X11-ish ways. It's pretty damn sad. Isn't Qtile also configured in Lua? Is it comparable to AwesomeVM? I have no fucking clue. Never tried it. AwesomeVM is actually my first window manager. And it's actually not like I've been looking for a window manager for quite some time now. No, I was just one day too annoyed with my setup and how kind of ass it felt. And I decided, all right, fucking went on YouTube video, fucking X11 window managers. Saw the first video, AwesomeVM, and it's like, AwesomeVM is awesome, use it. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to. And that's literally all I did. It was like very, very quick. And then went on my 6 fucking days straight adventure doing it. If you look at my .files commits, you'll see a bunch of commits with AwesomeVM as like the topic. So I still don't know whether AwesomeVM is like the best or not. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. One thing I know though is that AwesomeVM works really fucking well for me. It is precisely what I want. In the sense of the defaults might as well be unusable. There basically are. AwesomeVM by default is impressively ugly and impressively like just kind of bad. It forces you to make your own features exactly how you want them, and it is precisely what I love doing. It's precisely what I do all the time, really. And that is precisely what I did. I already had this kind of idea of I make my own setup specifically how I wanted to with my fish shell various functions. And now I get to have them and my window manager working together to achieve different goals. And it's fucking beautiful. It's really good for me, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to everyone, because by all accounts, it's like it took 7 fucking days. 7. I'm still not done. I'm still not done. If we look at this is my to-do list. Kinda a lot, isn't it? Now, most of these are not like that important. They're not that crucial, but still things that I kind of need to do in my setup, you know? So I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. Fuck, I stubbed my toe on the table again. I'll throw it out the window and build a floating one. Wait, what? That's a really difficult joke. By the way, let's disable Bluetooth for now. Because if my Bluetooth is on, there are 2 if checks, 2 command calls, 2 system calls, If it is disabled, there's only one every like once in a while. It's what she did. Huh. Can you please elaborate? I do not get the joke. I'm sure it's funny. I don't get it though. Right, so the average user and a reasonable user just wants an environment that works, is reasonably configurable to have it be what they want, and that won't take fucking 7 days to configure to even then be kinda not perfect, I guess. For example, I can't click on this to get a list of all the Wi-Fi connections to then connect to one. To connect to a specific device, what I have to do is, let's go here, do Bluetooth, and then I scan on. Oh, of course, we power on, then scan on, then BL. Right, we enter BL. Let's hold up. Scan off and then scan on. So we can see new devices as they come in. And then we see names sometimes. What you have to do is copy this fucking MAC code. Great, then you pair blammo. Hold up, you pair blammo and then we connect. Also blammo. And then you connect to the device. That's what I have gotten as a feature, which is usually a very simple feature that is just there always and damn near everywhere. And that's how I have to do it in my setup. I'll make it better for sure, but I will make it. I will program it to be exactly what I want, and this kind of ideology is exactly what I want out of my environment, to make it exactly what I want. But a feature as like simple, you would think, as this is not a feature whatsoever. It's something you have to implement yourself. Got fed up with a medium to minor inconvenience enough to throw out your desktop environment, configure it entirely, and build your own with a lighter and more magical one. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. And the trade-off is going to be way too big for most people, understandably so, because you have to work a lot to redo things to get the advantage of minor inconveniences being fixed. And that's just not going to be what people want usually. But I fucking love it. I adore it. It's very much me. 3:30 in the morning, god damn. That's quite a difference we have here. Like, what, 7 hours, more or less? 7, 8 hours? Jesus. Alrighty. Let's fix YouTube chat, because right now it looks kind of ugly. Ooh, I know. I'll also change the font to Comforta. It's a pretty neat font. Do I have it installed? Comforta. I don't. Interesting. How do I actually how do I list all installed fonts on my, hold up, I have a thing for this. Boom. FC list. Okay. FC list. Does it have comfort? It doesn't. Okay. Let's borrow Comforta. Yeah, you probably should. So if you do decide to, have a good night. Let's install this. Boom. And add this to install. That's how I do things, by the way. Like, overall. This is how I install stuff and figure things out. It's a lot of button presses and hotkeys and all that stuff. Let's actually have this available. Do this and boom. Damn, it's kind of taking a long time. What the fuck? And matter of fact, this should be upper. So this will, I assume, have a bunch of fonts having Comforta as well. Check out SD and Cinema. If you don't know what it is, also Lua Kit. I do use SD. SD is amazing. SD Cinema sounds terrifying if it is what I think it is. Lua Kit? I'm not sure if I even care about it. I'm not that interested in like battling my hatred towards Lua or making my experience with it better. I kind of have it in a clan, like, oh right, like this is the bad language. A cinema is a terminal recorder. Interesting. Huh. Cool. Damn, it's kind of taking a long ass time. That's ridiculous. Okay. Let's do CSS. I haven't done CSS in some time. See, like, why is there just padding there? It does not need to be there. Locate as a browser. WebKit based, I think. Scriptable with Lua. Vim-like by default. Interesting. But also, god fucking damn it, why is everything fucking configured in Lua? I would super prefer that to not be the case. Okay, I essentially want to padding none, 0, and here we go. Boom. Well, that's interesting, yeah. I'll go before my phone falls on me and detail loss of trying to get in my arm. It's super relatable. Bye bye, have a good night. Let's go to YouTube. And somewhere in here, let's search for padding in case there is... So a fix, I thought I would fix the issue, didn't work. Blech. Whatever. What? Oh, I said it this way. That's interesting. Huh. I guess it worked on a previous thingy, but doesn't anymore. Boom. Now this immediately looks better. Now I want to make this icon be pink like it used to be. Icon shape div. I assume that's something that I set. Yes, interesting. So I overrided it. YouTube spec icon shape, that's too inspecific. YouTube live chat author badge renderer. So we want to take this. Let me cook. We want to take this, and in any div inside of it, we fill with pink, and we set it to be important. Actually, it's pretty self-explanatory, so I don't feel like making a comment there. Boom. I want to make this smaller, like considerably smaller. But before we do that, I want to make the live chat font size smaller, because it's like way too big. Let's search for what contains the text. It is this. Title view selector. I assume it has something inside of it. This. Let's go even downer. Did it? It did not. We have trigger, drop down. Yes, trigger. Okay, we're getting closer. It's a huge fucking tree. I wouldn't think. Here we are. So, label text. YouTube drop down menu. So what we need to search for is the font size on it. YTD sub headline font size. The thing with this is that if we make a wrong selector, this will affect too many things that we might not want. So let's take ID label text. It's a pretty good thing to start with. What do we want to do? We want to change the font size. Let's go quite a bit down. Even downer. I have quite a lot of stuff, don't I? Let's start here. So, label text. And it needs to be inside something that specifically tells us, oh, this is the drop down in YouTube chat. Drop down trigger, YouTube drop down menu, live chat mode selection. Actually, that's amazing. That's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Is it directly in? Yes, it is directly inside. Okay. That's really convenient. So YSV0 in quotes, and actually YSA. So area something something, area label. Label is this. And then we change the font size. And let's figure out what it's going to be. Not sure if it has changed. Yes, yes, it has. Good, 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 good. Let's make it quite a bit smaller. Oops, that's... I restarted the wrong thing. Let's make sure chat is on that window as well. Well, it does look a bit ridiculous. Yeah, let's make it a bit bigger. How does this work? Still a bit too small. Yeah, that's good enough. Wait, they removed the underline again? That's fucking insane. YouTube, stop changing shit. I swear to God. SMH my head, literally. Okay, so YouTube live chat header renderer. That seems pretty inspecific. Rather specific enough where I won't have to worry about it. Where else do we like disable padding? Padding. Here. This is a class. It is? Nope. It is an element. Live chat or top chat. It is called top chat, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. We remove the padding. There is no padding anymore. And now we make the element that contains all of this just simply smaller. We change the height. I said we change the height. Oh, it's just like really slowly changing it. I'm thinking how I like it. It kind of looks like a title bar. Of course, I would prefer it to not exist there, but being able to pick live chat and being able to pop out chat is pretty important. So I think 22 is the way to go. Height is 22 pixels. And let's name these YouTube chat header. We do this, we do this. Boom. Yeah, overall, chat fixed. Yeah, nice. Yeah, looks good, looks good. Yeah, that's it, mostly. I thought it would take longer. Usually when I try to touch CSS, it's like a disaster. And it is so much work. and it takes longer than I usually think. So I'm kind of flabbergasted. Okay, let's make a few commits. Oh, have you installed? It has. Okay. Right, I wanted to change the font. A bunch of these are like kind of small thingies. Actually, let's not do you or you, but yes, you. Actually, something I can do is boom. What do we change here? X remap. Fix quiet prompt. What does that mean? Let me actually show you. When I press Super J, I can type in a command to be executed in fish shell. So I have my program Loago, and I have an alias for it called law that expands into Loago. So Loago list, and it shows me the output of the command and a notification. However, if I first press meta semicolon and then meta j, and I did the same exact thing, I don't get output because I muted it. Pretty neat feature. Okay. And in YouTube CSS, that I'll touch later. That's not a thing? Hold up. Wait. I don't remember. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't have that. Interesting. I have made an interesting idea, I think. A special mapping in NeoVim that inserts the section? Sure, let's call it the section. The section of a commit. So the way it works, we do gm zc, and then to connect to, we do this, boom. I didn't need to type this in, because I add them very, very often, to the point where I had them all stored in registers that I executed, and I took up a lot of my registers that could instead be used for something else, rather than something like this specific. So I created a mapping for them specifically. Okay. Stylus YouTube. What do we just do? Fix chat. Kind of as simple as that. Alright, I want to check out whether, first of all, whether we have Comforta. Well, why did I install it then? I thought that you specifically had the font. Why did it just come up there then? Comforta. No. TTF Comforta. Okay. It's a really, really cute font. TTF Comforta. Right? Yes. That looks good. Did you know, by the way, that if you have BAT installed, then the package thingy in Paru becomes syntax highlighted. I just learned about that yesterday. Shit is wild. You just install a package, boom, you got syntax highlighting. It's pretty neat. Comforta. Yeah, and now I do. Okay, so Comforta regular. Nice, so I have this font. Okay, let's see how good it will look like. What? Appear, please, I beg of you. Okay, let's add Comforta. Did anything change? I don't know. Where does it get the font family? It has the font style here, of course, but the family. Give me the family. So it's defined somewhere on the upper level, but below where we just were, like below HTML. Font style is different from font family. I'm pretty sure. Because I don't think that Comforta looks like this. Okay. So it is using this one. Interesting. Did it change then? No, it did not. Interesting. What? So it inherits. I guess the name is wrong. Can only be so. Maybe Comforta dash regular. Let's try that. Sure. Comforta dash regular. You're getting me flabbergasted. Okay, well, what if we just set the font family here to Comforta. So it is invalid for some reason. Comforta looks different. Regular. It's possible that I need to like reboot to apply the change. Let's ask a different question. How do I check how a font is called? That's a bad question, actually. Not very well asked. Mm-hmm. X font cell. Okay. X font cell. Thought so. So we. I keep forgetting. Pick AUR. It's. No. No. Yeah. So I installed a new AUR helper that so far only really supports the installing action, but it's pretty neat. It looks better, and the main idea of it is that it asks all the question beforehand and then installs the entire thing, which is pretty neat. It's pretty cool. So pick AUR X font cell. X font cell. Xorg X font cell. Point and click selection of excellent font names. Okay. Wait, no, it was in here. Okay, let's run it. X font cell. It will appear there. Jesus Christ, it's ugly. How do we say I do it like this and I do this? What happens if I nothing, which is to be expected, I guess. Jesus Christ. Missing char sets in string to font set conversion. Uh-huh. What in the living hell is this? I would assume that it will just have a bunch of fonts listed here. Select. Clearly, I don't understand. X font cell. Showing a list of fonts, it does not do that. You can browse through the list to find the font you're interested in. Clearly, I cannot. Right. Well, that's just very strange. Maybe if I give it something, what do we have here? Font name pattern to match against. Okay, let's try doing that. Pattern. Huh? Okay, so it showed me a font. This somehow is even stranger. What is this window? Something is very, very wrong. Incredibly. Okay. Let's remove it. Seemingly, I am correct, but I assume I need to reboot or something. Because it doesn't recognize Comforta as the font, unless it maybe does. There's a way to check that. Comforta. Yeah. So it does recognize it. But not there. How interesting. Font family Comforta. Maybe we do it like this. No? I super don't get it. Why doesn't it work? No? Like, I am setting the font family to Comforta. It is invalid for some reason, so it folds back to a different one. And we can actually check that. Font. Maybe it's getting overridden by some other class. That's what I would usually think about, but no, it's falling back on the default one, which is Roboto in this case. And since I'm setting the element style, it's the strongest. There are no importance here that could override that. So, damn, yeah, it's falling back to Roboto, I think. So if we do Ubuntu nerd font, it applied that. Huh. Well, clearly it's not falling back on it, considering that this has not changed. Interesting. JetBrains Mono nerd font. Yeah, that's what we expect. Comforta. Surely it doesn't look like this. I remember it looking way different. Comforta. Let's go and look for it. It looks like very circly. Like this, you know? And yet, it's very strange. And I don't imagine that, oh, you just installed the wrong font. If that was the case, it wouldn't be called the exact same thing. You feel me? Unless, I guess, it was wrong in that AR package. Well, regardless, I think the first solution I'll try to do is just reboot and see if that fixes it. Yeah. Strange, very strange. I think I'm done for today. I'll come back sometime in the future to talk more about Awesome VM. If I remember more things that I want to talk about. Because there has been a lot of fucking configuration. It's crazy.